Hey, what's up everyone? Cobanermining456 here today, doing another news update on the upcoming Nintendo Wii U and Nintendo 3DS game Sonic Lost World. And today we have seen a lot of new gameplay footage thanks to IGN, and basically they covered all three stages for, all three stages of the demo version for both versions of the game, and we got to see a lot of new stuff and finally see how Sonic controls in this game besides just from a trailer. But anyway, we're going to go on into the gameplay footage we saw. So the first thing I noticed was that they actually called the first stage, Windy Hill, a zone. So it's kind of cool that they actually brought back, the zone thing, because, before it's been kind of like stages and acts and stuff. And while, older Sonic games had that, I just thought it was kind of cool to actually see the zones back. And then also, we got to see kind of like how the gameplay works. Aaron Weber went into the stuff we already know about how Sonic can trot around, then he can add, if you hold the trigger, he can go into like a full run. And then if you hold the other trigger, that's Sonic's max speed. But the thing is that this is not actually the boost anymore. It is actually the spin dash, as Aaron Weber called it in the video. So looks like the spin dash is back. The boost is gone. It's pretty interesting actually, because now it seems like something that's like really, like, one thing I noticed with the gameplay was that you have a bit more control over Sonic, and then it's a bit more exploration. Kind of reminded me of the adventure games. And then now to see the spin dash actually back, I just think that's really, really awesome. I'm gonna miss the boost, but I gotta say I did love the spin dash, but I'm hoping that the spin dash in this game maintains just as much speed as in the Sonic Adventure series, where you can do like amazing spin jumps and stuff like that and just do crazy shortcuts. And yeah, so it looks like spin dash is back, so for all the Sonic Adventure fans, woohoo! And then also, Aaron Weber talked about how Sonic's running animation is now basically inspired off the Super Peel Out mood from Sonic CD, where Sonic's legs move in a figure eight. So glad it wasn't just me or something like that who thought that, but I thought that was pretty cool as well. Also, another thing that we got to see more in action was the parkour gameplay. It was kind of cool to see the parkour movement, because we already know about it and we've kind of seen it in the trailer and stuff, but to see it more in action, to where you can like spin dash while you're doing the move and stuff, I don't know, it's just really good to finally see Sonic a lot more acrobatic than he has been in the past, because we've seen Sonic do all this stuff in trailers and stuff, to where he's jumping all over the place, kicking enemies, doing all these crazy jumps and all, and now it's like we actually can do that in this game, to where it's like we're gonna, I don't know, it just seems more like Sonic, because, while Sonic is all about speed and all, and then, the platforming, he is very acrobatic, and, some things you may not know, like Sonic is actually an experienced breakdancer, so it's kind of cool to actually see that, Sonic's doing more acrobatic stuff in this game. And another cool thing was that actually showed off how Sonic can run up trees, which was something I thought was really cool, because I didn't know how far, like, to what extent Sonic's parkour movement would kind of be, to where if he would be limited by like trees or rocks or something like that. But apparently it looks like he can actually do this. The only thing will probably be just like far gaps that he can't do. But he can basically, do jumps side to side from wall to wall. And I believe I saw in some gameplay footage, it may have been the 3DS version, but I saw Sonic kind of like quick-stepping on it, which is another thing that kind of reminds me of like Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Generations and all, which is cool. And with him kind of jumping back and forth between walls, which you can see in the 3DS version footage as well, also kind of reminded me of the wall jump from Sonic Heroes, to where you can kind of like jump back and forth between the walls, and it was kind of like the triangle wall jump. But not only that, that's not the only thing that you can notice from this gameplay footage that reminds you of Sonic Heroes. If you actually grab the speed shoes, which you'll see in the 3DS footage, the speed shoe music is actually from Sonic Heroes, to where it's the Sonic Heroes theme. Sonic Heroes, where it's like, what goes up must come down, but it's just instrumental. So I thought that was really, really cool, a nice reference right there. And then What else? So basically we kind of saw the gameplay footage to where it was like a mix of platforming and speed in Windy Hills, like Zone 1. I was about to say Act 1. Zone 1. And then when we went to Desert Ruins, kinda, it looked like, you know, more of a platforming stage, more 2D, to where it actually reminded me something more of like, you know, classic Sonic gameplay. And then also the platforming did remind me a lot of Sonic Colors, which was something that I thought was really cool. So I like how they're going to have a balance of it to where it's like 2D platforming, which I know some people may not be fond of, but you know, that's just Sega's way of trying to, you know, kind of like do like homage to like the original games. And also seems like a lot of people actually do like the 2.5D gameplay, so you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So like, but that was one thing. And then also another thing I noticed from Sonic's gameplay is that Sonic actually has the double jump back. So as you all know, that was in Sonic Colors, to where Sonic, he could jump, and then if you needed a little bitty boost to kind of help him do a bit more precision in his platforming, basically it would allow him to kind of like get a little spurt, and well, not a spurt, but a little boost. So I thought that was really cool. And I really feel that this game in many ways is very much like a sequel to Sonic Colors, and it'd be kind of cool to actually see it continue on from like see the story continue on from like Sonic Colors or something like that, or have some references to Sonic Colors. Because we also saw some Wisp gameplay footage to where the laser is back, and basically it looks like it controls just the same way, but this time around, you know, you use the Wii U gamepad, because that's what you use to actually initiate the Wisp and actually, you know, engage it, use it. And then we also saw some new Wisp gameplay footage in the 3DS version, to where it actually looks a bit like the Void from Sonic Colors on the DS. But if you can actually look at it, it looks a bit more like a buzzsaw. So basically what it was doing was kind of chopping the stage apart. And when it did that, it basically get this kind of like force field around it, like a shield that protected it, and basically extended its buzzsaw, you know, abilities, to where if anything touched that surrounding like circle around the buzzsaw, it would basically destroy it or chop it down, which I thought was really interesting. So I'm hoping that they have some really like cool new Wisp power-ups. I'm pretty sure the DS version is going to have, you know, like version-specific Wisps. Okay, so we are not yet done though with the gameplay, because there is something else that has been revealed in this gameplay footage that I thought was very interesting, but did not get me, you know, concerned or anything like that whatsoever. But if you actually look at Desert Ruins Zone 2, you can tell that this stage looks very similar to the Mach Speed sections in Sonic 06! But don't fear, because actually if you look at this gameplay, it looks like Sonic is very easy to control, and while, you know, you basically have no control of his like forward movement besides going left and right and kind of jumping and all, it looks very controllable. It doesn't look hard to control or stiff or anything like that. It looks like Sonic moves very fluidly, very smoothly, and I don't think it's going to be really bad at all. It almost somewhat looks like something like Sonic Dash a bit. I don't know how to explain it, but basically it's like, you know, Sonic just moves forward, and, you know, because he gets shot from a cannon. Almost kind of like, if you think about it, kind of like, I know I'm kind of like tying it in with Mario, but it kind of reminds me of the cannon stages from New Super Mario Bros. 2, where basically you just move forward, you can't stop or anything like that, but you have to time your jumps and dodge, you know, obstacles and attack enemies and stuff. So that's something that I thought was really cool. And if you also look at it, Sonic is basically running down a tree. So the level design, like, I don't know, something about it. It also reminded me of like Terminal Velocity bit, because, you know, you also see skydiving sections are back, and, you know, Sonic can dive and stuff like that. And then another thing we kind of got to see is that Sonic's homing attack is actually sped up, and you know, how fast of a recovery time he has, so where it's almost like instant recovery. It's not like a huge bounce off the enemy, like if you notice from other Sonic games when he does a homing attack. It's actually a rapid succession. It's just like boom, 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 and it looks really, I don't know, it looks very fast-paced. It definitely shows how Sega is trying to basically keep the forward movement going, and while this game is slower than, you know, the other games like Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed and all, it does show that what Sega is trying to do is basically make this gameplay to where, you know, if you want to, you can just keep on going. You don't have to stop the forward movement. And then also you have the ability to, you know, do exploration if you want to, which I think is really cool how they're giving that option, because it reminds me of, you know, the classic Sonic games like, you know, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic 2, Sonic 1, to where you can either decide to just speed through the stage, or you can actually decide to explore a bit more and do more platforming, which I think is really good. I think Sega is going in the right direction with this game, especially with the gameplay. I think it looks very smooth. It looks like some of the best control Sonic has ever had, because while Sonic lost speed in the process, he's still very fast, you know, but it looks like you can really control Sonic well, even at these very fast speeds, which I think is a very good idea that Sega's done with, you know, just how this gameplay is all working. Okay, so now that we kind of covered the Wii U version, now we can go on to the 3DS gameplay footage that we saw. And from what we saw, you know, basically we finally got to see that, you know, Sonic Lost World on the 3DS actually has full 3D environments. And while there are a few stages to where it's like mostly 2D and all that stuff, we did see how, you know, there are stages that are basically full 3D, and it's like, whoa, this game actually looks amazing. And it's like, if the 3DS could do this, why did they not do this with Sonic Generations? It was such a missed opportunity. But then, you know, it's just like, hey, at least Sega is finally doing it. Better late than never. But if you look at it, it's like the stages look very pretty. Like, the environments are huge and vast. The game runs smoothly. You know, Sonic's character model isn't like, you know, the best looking he's ever been, but it does look pretty good. And yeah, it does not look like a port at all of the Wii U version, but at the same time, it doesn't look like a massive downgrade in any way whatsoever with the 3DS version. It looks like it looks worthy enough to actually get like the $40 price tag on you know, the 3DS. Like, it looks that good. I can't stress enough. I was mind blown when I actually saw this gameplay footage, because I'm like, whoa, this is a 3DS game of Sonic? Like, you know, the environments are just that beautiful, and, you know, well, they're not the most detailed. They're pretty simplistic in some areas. It's about the art style and just, you know, seeing Sonic in a 3D world, like, on, you know, a handheld. That's just something that's kind of new for people, so it's like, kind of have to take that in, like, take a few deep breaths and be like, whoa. But one thing I will say is that, like, the funny thing is that it's actually still being made by Dimps, so it is not being made by, like, Sonic Team or anything like that. Still being controlled by Dimps, but from what we've seen so far, it looks good. Like, you know, Sonic's running looks good. You know, looks like it has a good speed. His jump looks good, even though it does, I have to say, it does look a bit floaty. It does look a bit like it does look a bit like Sonic Colors jump, so I can't really complain too much about that. And then I already did talk about the Whisk power-up that we saw in the gameplay footage, to where it's kind of like a buzzsaw, and then it kind of like extends, you know, its buzzsaw powers. And then, also, we can kind of see that in some of the gameplay, Sonic has this new move to where basically he does this flip in the air, and out of his foot comes like a wave of like air or something. I don't know what it is. I can't really explain it. Like, it looks like, I'm guessing that it's like a wind move that Sonic has, like almost like a tornado or something that he can send towards enemies to like stun them or flip them around. And that's what he was using against these Cater Pies, I believe that's what they're called, or Caterkillers. I can't recall the certain name, to where basically he would flip them around to where they'd face towards him, and then he can attack them without hitting, you know, like the spiky, spiny sides on him, which I thought was really cool. But another cool thing that was also noticed that I saw was that the elemental shields are back. So in the beginning, we actually see a shield that looks very much like the electric shield. I don't think it gives Sonic a double jump, because, you know, Sonic already does have a double jump, but, you know, if you look at it, it's just like, yeah, it has like electricity kind of going around him. And then, you know, at first I thought, well, maybe this is just a regular shield, you know, maybe it doesn't have any like elemental, you know, abilities or powers to it. But if you actually look at the Desert Ruins gameplay, to where he's kind of like in this ancient tomb and stuff, almost like in, like, you know, a pyramid or something, you can see that Sonic actually gets a fire shield. So, and that was something that actually protected him a couple of times from fire enemies if you actually see him attack them in the gameplay footage. So that was another thing I thought was really, really cool. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe, who knows, if it's just to where it protects you from, you know, certain attacks like that, I mean, that'll still be cool. But it's like, you know, if it did give you like a certain power or something like that, I think that would be really awesome as well. Or like, you know, a little like different, you know, look to like Sonic's homing attack, to where like has like a fiery look to it if he has like the fire shield or something. But yeah, so that was it for kind of like, you know, gameplay footage of the 3DS version. You can definitely tell from the gameplay that there is a lot more emphasis on platforming, and, you know, that's really good because, you know, it like I said, it reminds me a lot of the classic Sonic games. And, you know, while I do love Sonic Speed and the Sonic Boost and stuff, I have to say that I do really, really love platforming, which is why I did love Sonic Colors so much. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the gameplay footage. Gonna let you all see the gameplay footage, you know, with IGN, to where, you know, kind of Aaron Weber kind of talks about it, and then also, you know, the gameplay footage without my commentary. But if you do have any opinions or anything like that, if you're excited about this game, let me know in the comments below, and tell me which game you think this game reminds you most of. To be honest, it reminds me more of the classic Sonic games, and Sonic Adventure, along with a little bit of Sonic 06 and, you know, modern Sonic's gameplay. So it's really a mix of almost all the gameplay, but I see a lot more of classic Sonic and you know, Sonic Colors and Sonic Adventure gameplay in it, to where it's like a huge emphasis on platforming, and then, you know, more control over Sonic, and you have like, you know, like a lot more platforming in the game. But would love to hear your opinions. I'm sorry if this video was quite a bit long. You know, I really do like to give my opinions on stuff, and I do ramble on a lot, but I do like to give a lot of details. So if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to drop a like and a comment. It really helps out a ton. And you know, from all the support that I've gotten in the previous videos, I can't thank you all enough with just how much, like, you know, how many comments I got, you know, how much, you know, like, traffic that was going to my previous updates on Sonic Lost World. So I'll definitely keep on doing these until the game comes out, and I'll be doing an LP on the game as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. But yep, I am done, so thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, like I said, leave a like and a comment, and enjoy the gameplay footage. But until next time, I will see you all later. Peace!
You through 3 distinct stages. First, starting Windy Hill, and then we're going to do Desert Ruins and Desert Ruins 2. So let's take a look at Windy Hill here. So you've seen the trailer, you've seen some basic details in our write-up, but we wanted to really just show you gameplay and kind of walk you through it. So, Aaron, first things first. Sonic, you've slowed him down actually a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that.
We have, just a little bit, and that's because, you know, a lot of times in previous Sonic games, you'd have such a great sense of speed, but you'd have almost no control. And so there's all these people saying, man, I love going fast, but I hate when I slam into that wall, or I fall off the edge, or I just can't see it coming in time. So we're giving the player the choice over their speed now. So when I walk around, if I'm just walking around normally, this is the speed I go at. And that's the walk speed. Now, if I hold down the right trigger, then I move into run speed, and that's when we can go a lot faster. And finally, if you're like a Sonic fan, if you really know the level, you hold down the left trigger, and that takes you into Spin Dash, which is a nice, returning, iconic move, and we blaze through the level at that speed.
Nice. So, I mean, as you're blasting through this and kind of taking out all the enemies, the gameplay, I mean, you know, when we saw Generations was old school 2D level, and then that same idea, but in modern 3D. You guys are actually mixing it up a bit and doing both basically at the same time in the same level, is that right? That's
right. And in fact, in this level, I can go essentially underneath the level, and this is a completely different path. So in this first part right here, there are 4 different ways that I can go. And traditionally in Sonic games, you've got your high, your medium, your low paths. Sonic fans will be excited to see that there are many multiple paths here that you can take. In addition to that, we've added the parkour system. So the parkour system is used whenever you're running into obstacles. So, for example, this tree. If I were to run into this tree normally in a different Sonic game, I would lose all my speed. I just do a dead stop. But here, we'll run up the tree just like that. Grab that red star ring. So that's a really nice new feature.
That's pretty cool. So, I mean, and the idea is that, I mean, some fans will go, oh man, I don't want the game to play for my, play it for me. So How do I determine when I'm parkouring, when I'm not parkouring? Like, how much of that is automated and how much of it is actually, like, skill-based?
Yeah, that's entirely up to you. So if you're walking at normal speed, you won't do the parkour. If you hold down the run button, you will. So that's totally up to the player.
And you're not going to, like, scale up, like, giant hillsides, right? I mean, there's still, like, I mean, it helps you overcome smaller obstacles so that you don't lose momentum, but you're still, like, doing platforming and basic maneuvering and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's not an easy win.
He's not going to jump over this or anything crazy like that.
With the parkour.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, so tell me, I mean, so we're talking about multiple paths and everything. You're kicking this bell around here. What's going on with this bell?
This bell, if I can hit it enough times, and this part's a little tricky, I gotta stop. Perfect. If I hit this enough times, it turns into a red star ring. The red star ring, Sonic fans will recognize because those are from Sonic Colors initially. Those are collectibles, and they unlock stuff as you go through the game. So
nice, and it's a set 5 per level.
Yeah, 5 in every level, exactly.
Awesome. Now, I mean, we were talking a little bit about running around the sides of levels, and, you know, these levels are really, really crazy. And, I mean, I'm sort of used to more like, okay, you know, Windy Hills is like a foresty, plains kind of thing or whatever. But these levels are just more bizarre and eclectic and abstract. Is that kind of the approach for all the levels within Lost World?
In a certain way, yeah. And it's kind of cool because a lot of Sonic levels, you know, historically have had these really crazy themes to them. And you're going to see that as we go through the second level in particular. So right here, for example, this is an alternate path. There's another path I could have taken, but I like the clouds. So we can bounce around here and grab rings as we're going through.
Nice.
The next level we'll take a look at is actually completely candy themed. So if you're like me and you have a massive sweet tooth, you are going to love the next level.
Nice.
But, I mean, all of Sonic's levels traditionally have had really cool themes, and we wanted to really expand upon that. In particular, in Lost World, as you're going through maybe the desert zone, right, we're going to show you 2 levels from the desert zone, but they're both completely different. So instead of having like 3 levels that all look maybe reminiscent of Green Hill in cases like this, you're going to see 3 levels that are all very, very unique, and that's fun.
Awesome.
So right here, I'm taking an alternate path. I could have just fallen down there and taken the spring. This is one of the gold little cannons, a little reference for the Sonic fan. That one's for you.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys have like worked in a lot of references to all of the Sonic games, from like you know, the red coins like you were mentioning from Colors, but also just down to the small details. I think you were telling me earlier actually, like his run animation is from a very specific game.
That's right. It's the super peel out from Sonic CD, that little figure 8 thing that you see going on there.
Right.
And we brought back stuff beyond that. This is a kick attack, so I've got 2 different attacks. I can homing attack, but these snails, I need to kick them, and that'll wipe them out instantly if I kick them versus the homing attack. And this guy, this is the laser wisp from Sonic Colors. Fans will recognize that. By tapping the gamepad, I can activate the wisp, and then I slide the finger. Just like that, and I can use the wisp. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a great point that you bring up. Is just that, I mean, so this is obviously exclusive to Nintendo platforms, so fans will see it on Wii U, which is obviously what you're seeing here, as well as 3DS, which you'll be able to see footage of on IGN at the same time. So when you're done watching this, go watch the 3DS footage. But, so I mean, in terms of the gamepad, actually, we're about to finish this stage here. So the gamepad is used primarily to activate your color powers, and then you not only select them and activate them, but execute them.
That's right. So you'll be tapping, you'll be tilting, you'll be sliding. Like, you pretty much use the gamepad to interact with the different color powers.
Awesome. Yep. All right. So now so this is the E3 demo. That's why you're seing the start screen again. So we're going to go into Desert Ruins 2.
Whoops. Oh. Or we're going to go back. You guys want to see it again? We can see it again. No, we'll jump back out. We'll take a look at Desert Ruins 2.
No problem.
So this one, like I said, is going to be candy themed. It's one of my favorite ones from the 3 levels we've got, and I know a few people at this point are already thinking to themselves, "Man, you know, if it's slower, is it necessarily lesser than like Sonic Generations?"
Sure.
And for you guys, sit tight, because whenever we show you level 3, I think that's going to satisfy a lot of what you're looking for.
Now, what I thought was really cool, because we've seen this footage before as we were sort of preparing the last feature on Sonic. It's pretty different from the level we just saw. Like the actual construction of it, not just the theme. I mean, obviously you see donuts floating in the background. Clearly, it's different in that respect. But the mixture of 2D and 3D is a lot different. This is just 2D straight up.
Yeah, exactly.
But you guys, like, every level is slightly different. I mean, even in the third one we're going to see in a little bit is completely different than this one, which was different from the last one.
Yep.
This one actually reminds me just of much more straightforward 2D. Classic Sonic feel, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And we get to use the homing attack here, you know, which is something that you could upgrade in Generations, but it's really nice, I think, here to get that sort of like the classic feel. And I'm actually going to slow it down right here. I'm not going to run as I make this jump, because that gives me that precision platforming I needed to to land that.
That was always sort of that could be a really tricky thing with some of the past Sonic games. Like I'm going really fast and I can't control my jump,
and then it's like I miss it, and then I'm
Yeah.
dead, and it's kind of frustrating when it's
Yeah.
like instant death. So it's nice to have that. Here's like the favorite cookie section of this stage. There's a little secret here that I'm gonna show off. So if you're playing this at E3, you get a little tip here.
Now everyone at E3 is going to just be like a pro at Sonic.
I know, they'll know exactly.
The developers are going to be like, man, we made the game too easy. We need to like make this a lot harder. It's like, no, guys, they're watching IGN. It's okay.
Grab all the rings.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
And there's a red star ring there too. So.
All right, so what secret are you getting here? Is this
All right, so this was an alternate path I just took. We're skipping a whole section of the level, and we're going to drop down right here. There we go. Our little candy loop-de-loop.
Nice.
So just like the old Sonic games, lots of different paths we can take, and that's very fun. Here I get to bounce on the truffles. Yeah,
Truffles of
they're
doom.
actually dangerous truffles. You don't want to get hit by these truffles.
Yeah,
apparently.
actually, I mean, I've seen you. I mean, you can get clocked pretty good by these things.
You can.
There's actually, I think we're coming up on it, but there's like a much larger gauntlet of them. Or did you bypass
Yes,
that?
at the end. No, at the end you're going to see a
yeah.
massive gauntlet. Right here. So you can collect the animals, right? You save these little animals, but it's a really big focus in Lost World, which is nice. So there's a little capsule.
Oh.
Save those guys.
Yeah.
Lose a few rings and grab them back. And those animals that we collect, we are going to get a running total of those guys as we go through the level. So that's
So
going
it's
to
not
build
just
up.
like something to do. Like there's actually things you unlock and
There's a
reason
purpose.
for it.
That's right. That's right. And so you'll have a running total of animals that you save. So when you beat a level, you get animals. When you destroy badniks, you get animals. And when you find those little capsules, you save even more.
Nice. So the not only are the animals used for unlockables, the red star coins are used for unlockables or red rings, whatever. And are there any other secrets unlockable? I mean, obviously multiple paths. That's quite a bit.
Those are the primary ones that we're discussing right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right here, here's one of the levels where we get to bounce on the truffles.
There we go.
We can go all the way up and get red rings. There's actually another secret over here. All right, last secret, I promise. So right here, we're just, I've had enough of life. I'm just going to jump to my death right about now. There we go. And there's a little cannon there.
Nice. That's awesome.
And so we'll just grab all those rings and get through. And at this point, I think the dev team is like, what are you doing? Stop showing up.
Yeah, I know, right?
Stop that.
That's spoilers.
Yeah, so now we're going to bounce up the truffles. Two paths we can go. We can go to the right, a little bit easier, but I'm going to go to the left because there's a red star ring over there.
Trying to be
We're gonna try and get-
trying to be a
I know,
daredevil.
I know.
Game's punishing.
All I
you.
need is one ring. It's
Game's
getting-
like,
it's
oh,
getting me
you
back
tried
right
to
now.
show off, and now look what
It's
happened.
like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oof, there we go. Okay. So you can tell them when to climb up those. So it's kind of nice in the sense that if you want to grab onto the ledge, if you want to bounce over, you can, but you don't have to. So here we go.
Oh, nice.
All right, let's try and get this. I'm actually going to take the right path, I think, just because these truffles are
Yeah.
loving me right now.
Interest of time, I suppose.
I know, yeah. I want to show you guys that third level. So right here, we can bounce up there, grab that, and then there's our capsule of animals right there. And the little sparkles and the little emblems that popped up there, nice little reference for the old fans. Recognize that. And there's our animal totals, too.
Nice.
So one more level.
So let's cover off on the story, because I know that's something you guys are staying a little bit mysterious about.
Yeah.
We obviously saw that teaser image there in the background for the Thanks for Playing screen, which you guys teased a while back. But you got some new enemies, some new faces in there. Tell me a little bit about these guys.
So they're called the Deadly Six, and those are all new bosses that you're going to be fighting within Sonic Lost World. And we've shown them off a little bit with the teaser image that you guys probably saw
In the
on
trailer,
Facebook. That's
showed them
right.
a little
In the
bit, right?
trailer, you saw them.
Yep.
So it's still a little bit early for us to tell you about them, but we find them very exciting because, I think as Sonic fans, as people that play a lot of Sonic games, you fought Dr. Eggman quite a bit, right?
Sure.
Over and over and over. So it's nice to have a whole new set of enemies to fight, and that's what the Deadly Six offers. So
Nice.
stay tuned for that. Now, here's the level I was talking about. Very, very different right here.
Yeah.
Sonic is running at
Full speed.
pretty much full speed, and,
Yep.
and I can't stop him right now. So we are focused on dodging the walls and on running through and navigating this honeycomb, grabbing the rings as we go along. And this is more like a Generations, looking or at least themed level versus the other ones, much faster.
I wanted to bring up one thing because we were talking about the gamepad a little bit earlier. But
Yeah.
so you guys aren't just limiting it to actually the color powers, but there's a support mode. Tell me about support mode.
That's right. I actually can't tell you any of the specific details just yet. You'll want to stay tuned.
Damn you.
You almost
But I mean,
got
the
me.
idea is that you're using a Wii remote.
But that's
as an
right. So,
assist. Yeah.
so sort of in the same way that in the old days, my little brother would play as Tails in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and he would back me up.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a second player support you via support mode in Sonic Lost World.
Cool.
Which is very exciting. So there's both a competitive two-player mode and there's the support mode.
Okay. And then you mentioned you just actually brought up the idea of like in the past we'd play as Tails or whatnot.
Yep.
So some of Sonic's friends and allies, long friends and allies are in this game, but you can't play as them. Tell me how do we see Knuckles or Tails or some of those guys in this?
You'll see Tails and Knuckles in the cutscenes. You'll see Amy in the cutscenes. You're not going to see many of Sonic's other friends beyond that. So we've kind of tried to focus on that key group. Yeah, so you play only as Sonic, and then you'll be seeing the other characters get their time in the spotlight as you go through the story.
Awesome. And with that, and this giant green face...
That's right.
We are actually out of time. So thanks very much for showing the game, Aaron.
Thanks very much for having us.